What an incredible comeback win by the Buffalo Bills in Sunday Night Football right here on TSN. An instant classic, 41-40 Buffalo over Baltimore. Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson were both phenomenal. But the Bills win despite trailing by 15 points in the fourth quarter. It's the first time they've done that since 1967. Here's Dave Naylor, who covers the Bills for us here on TSN. The final home game at Old Highmark Stadium, the final home opener, I should say, at Old Highmark Stadium. What an incredible game to be at, Dave. Down 15 points. This is your fourth season covering the Buffalo Bills. Have you ever seen anything like this, Dave?
I have not. And among the other things I haven't seen before, Jay, are people leaving a Buffalo Bills game with 11 minutes left. And we saw that tonight. You know, it felt like a loss. And it was, you know, look, this is one of these games where the Ravens and the Bills have played a lot of tight games, not so much in the regular season last year, but certainly in the playoffs. And turnovers have been a big factor. The team that's won the turnover battle has, for the most part, won this game. And it felt like in the first half, the Bills were playing very, very conservatively. Like they didn't want to make a mistake, and they didn't really trust their defense. You can see why they didn't trust their defense by what was going on in the first half. But once they got down by 2 scores, you saw them have to open it up. And that's where Josh Allen's magic takes over. When he's off script, when he's buying time and allowing his receivers to get open, the players said it in the locker room afterwards, it's never over when you've got 17. And, I mean, and aggressive. I mean, you know, I mentioned turnovers being a big factor. That was the thing, of course, that flipped the game here with the Derrick Henry turnover in the fourth quarter. And, like, here's how aggressive the Bills were on that. The first play after the fumble, Josh Allen throws a 29-yard pass to Jackson Hawes. Jackson Hawes is a rookie tight end. It's the first ball that's been thrown at him of his NFL career, and he's primarily a blocking tight end. I mean, that was an aggressive play call. And ultimately, you know, they get it done. Matt Prater kicks the field goal. Josh Allen said he met Matt Prater, their veteran kicker who they signed this week because Tyler Bass, their regular kicker, had to go on IR. He met him in the locker room 2 days ago. Said he showed him a video of his kid playing football, playing quarterback, and wanted his feedback on it. That's how new he was to this environment. But, you know, we mentioned this is the last home opener at Highmark Stadium. And Highmark Stadium is one of these places where, as a reporter, when you want to get to the locker room after the game, you got to go through the crowd. So picture this, you're going against the crowd. It was just a sea of smiling, laughing, joyful faces coming at me as I was trying to get to that Bills locker room. And you can imagine what the vibe was like. The players were asked, could they really conceive of what just took place? They were trying to put it together as much as everybody else was.
Okay, despite all this joy in Western New York, I have to poke holes in the theory a little bit because this is what we do here, Dave. I do want to talk about the defense, and you actually alluded to that in your answer, talking about the fact that the defense was not playing well. They gave up 40 points at the end of the day, and they invested a lot of money into this defense in the offseason. Should there be any concern on the part of Bills Mafia about the way the defense played on Sunday?
Yeah, I think there should be. I mean, look, you're right. The Bills, their free agent crop was mostly on defense. Now, 2 of those players are serving suspensions, Larry Ogunjobi and Michael Hoyt, and they can't play till week number 7. And Michael Hoyt especially, Oakville, Ontario's Michael Hoyt, is expected to be a significant piece of that defensive line and a real hybrid player, and they can move in different places. Certainly they could have used him tonight. You know, their first 2 corners for the number 2 corner spot, their first-round pick, Maxwell Hairston, he wasn't in this game. Tre'Davious White was out, so they were starting a rookie, Dorian Strong, at corner. So Cole Bishop, their second-year safety, missed a lot of training camp. So I think between the injuries, the omissions, and the youth, there was a sense that this is going to be a defense that is going to be a work in progress. Here's the good news. They're not going to face Derrick Henry again on the schedule because this is a defense, I think, that's been built to go after the opposing quarterbacks. And Derrick Henry is a freak. And when he was going, you know, you saw what he did tonight. Arm tackling is not going to get it done with him. And certainly they got pushed around at the defensive line a little bit as well. But here's the other thing that the Bills, and when I mentioned them wanting to get the pass rush, there were times tonight you saw Joey Bosa, Greg Rousseau getting upfield, getting penetration into the backfield. There was one play where Lamar Jackson turned it in from a 15-yard loss into a 19-yard gain, and the next play Derrick Henry scores. There's a 2-play synopsis of why the Ravens are so dangerous. But the stat that I think everybody's been talking about going into this season, the Bills were 29th in third down defense. They could not get off the field. Through the first 3 quarters in some of this game, they were running, last year they ran about 44% opposing offenses on third down. They were running about 66% through this game. So it was worse than when they were 29th, But when they had to get it done at the very end, especially when there was an opportunity for the Ravens to run out the clock, they got them off the field and got the ball back in Josh Allen's hands, and, man, he did some magic.
A lot of excitement about the Canadian Josh Palmer joining this team in the offseason, Dave, as you know. Got off to a bit of a slow start, but really was a big part of this win in the end. How big of a part do you think Palmer will play with this offense as the season progresses?
Well, you look at the end of the night, he had 9 targets, which is pretty good attention from the quarterback over the course of the night. I believe he had 5 for 61 were his final numbers. And, of course, he had a 32-yard catch. Really, he had the catch that put them in field goal range to win the game. That was the most important catch of that drive, and you can argue the most important catch of the game. One of the things you noted early on, there was some disconnection. There was one throw early on that was almost picked off. It was a contested ball, but Josh Palmer was not in a good position for it. There was one where Josh Allen flat out missed him. And then there was another play in the end zone where he overthrew him by about a yard. But I asked Josh Allen after the game, did you feel the chemistry and the relationship getting smoother and growing? And he said, yeah. And he said, that's going to happen over the course of the season. We're going to grow. He said he was proud of the way Josh Palmer played tonight, and certainly probably the craziest game he's ever played in, and he played a significant part in an unforgettable Bills comeback.
What a Sunday nighter. So the Bills win their final home opener at old Highmark Stadium. In fact, they've won 12 straight now at home. That's their second longest streak in franchise history. This is Dave Naylor. Dave, always great to chat with you.